it it really is just such a lovely thing, such a
I think
lovely
we all
thing.
play better too.
Tell me about that.
I mean,
What do you mean?
I think that when we're comfortable and we're not sweating and we're not freezing, we have a tendency to play easy. We're not
Okay.
we take that one less stressor out of the equation.
Is that is that what you experience? Is that
That's what I
what happens
experience.
for
Yeah,
you?
if I'm super hot, I struggle. Or if I'm
Hmm.
freezing and I can barely hold my club,
Well, the
but
freezing part, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
but the fall and spring, it's perfect. You don't need a jacket. You just go with your long sleeve and you play and you don't think about being cold or being hot. You just think about playing golf.
Yeah. Well, it is nice. It is nice now. And I do want to take a minute and mention that we are being powered by T Box at tbx.golf, where they have cracked the code on all things golf for the whole golfer experience. Clubs, coaching, and community at T Box. Be sure to check them out for a T Box near you. And for those of you in the Salt Lake County area, northern Utah County area, there's a T Box now in Riverton, run by Kelton Hirsch, Carly Hirsch, added to the really great T Boxes up in northern Utah. Be sure you check this out. This is just a fantastic place. You've hung out at T Box, Jan.
I have. I love T Box. Everyone should go to T Box. It's just, you're right. The connection between coaching and community, it's really important to them, and they do want to be part of our community, and they are a big part of the golf community.
Absolutely. And so tbx.golf. And this first hour of the show is brought to us by Salt Lake City Golf at slcgolf.com or the Salt Lake City Golf app. You can get that wherever you get your apps. And you can use either the app or the website to make a tee time at any of the great Salt Lake City golf courses. And that includes Bonneville. And boy, howdy, we need to talk about Bonneville because there was some championship golf played and some history made
Mm-hmm.
at at Bonneville this week. Incredible stuff where Darren Overson wins the senior state am in his initial run at it. And with that, Jan, he becomes just the second player in Utah golf history to win the state am, the mid am, and the senior state am all in one career. And the first one is the great Hall of Famer Todd Barker. So incredible stuff there from Darren Overson. We will be talking with Darren later in the show and get a deep dive with Darren on what his experience was. Talk to him about the tournament and talk to him about what this all means. But
Mm,
boy, howdy, Jan,
that's special.
what an incredible thing
Mm-hmm.
that
And
that
he's
he
only
did.
50.
Say that again.
And he's only 50.
Yeah, exactly. So that yeah, he just barely turns
Yep, he turned
50.
50 this last year or this year.
Yeah, so it's his first run at this,
Mm-hmm.
and part of the story of this state am and this senior state am, and it nearly became a very different story than it ended up being. But
Mm-hmm.
the finalist, a player named Stuart Wallen,
Mm-hmm.
and there's probably a lot of you who are saying, don't know that name. Who is he? And it's a completely fair reaction because he's pretty new, relatively new just to the game. He has only played it for not less than 20 years. He just started playing the game in 2008. And he only started playing competitive golf of any kind this year. It's kind of funny. His friend said, you're 52. You could play senior tournaments if you want. And he goes, what's that? And but he is a big, powerful man, a very athletic. Comes out of a baseball background, senior adult league baseball, and adult, just regular adult league baseball for years, and picked up golf later in life and got good. Holy cow, he's good. And he played his way into the final of the senior state am and took Overson to the 17th hole. Um, so this name Stuart Wallen is a name that you will want to remember. It is a name I am certain you will hear again because he gave notice and he showed that he's got a quality game and an ability to compete. And so Stuart Wallen, that's a name you're going to want to remember.
Great.
Um, but we started off kind of went down this track. We're gonna come back. We're gonna be talking a lot more of the senior state
Yes.
am, but started talking about Bonneville,
Hmm.
uh, and and in the context also of that it's such a nice day today. I know this will surprise many of you, but it wasn't always nice this week. we right? We got a
No.
little we got a little rain, Jan,
Hmm.
and Bonneville took a ton of
Mm.
rain while the senior state am was going on, and it was a sponge.
I'd
It
say it
was
must have been squishy.
it was squishy, it was saturated, it was wet for all but the last day, for all but the final match. The UGA had the players with ball in hand, lift clean in place in closely mown areas, and the uh, the course was just really, really wet. And they got through it. And it was very impressive to me how well it played and how the grounds crew was able to get through the week. Now, yes, the course is on a slope. It's not sitting down in a river bottom. We all know that. But there's a lot of places on that course where water was gathering and where there there were little pools and puddles and ponds that were forming, and everywhere you walked, it was squishy, like you said, Jan. And they got the tournament in.
Mm.
If it was just a normal day, you could close the course. It wasn't just a normal day, and they got the tournament in. It was really impressive. And later in the show, we will be talking with Steve Allender, who is the Bonneville Golf Course superintendent, and we're going to talk with him about what it takes to get a golf course through a situation like that when there's no choice, when you've got to play the championship because it's scheduled and everybody is there. So Steve Allender later in the show, that'll be pretty cool.
Yeah. Well.
But boy howdy, it was wet
Oh my
up there.
gosh. Yeah, well, and then again, as you said, the last day cleared up, so you play a certain way in soft conditions, and then all of a sudden you have to flip the switch and go back to normal golf.
Yeah, right. Um, really, really impressive. Everything about the senior state am was impressive.
Hmm.
The fact that, well, first of all, the UGA runs a good show.
They
They put
do.
on a good tournament. So let's start with that baseline.
Hmm.
We candidly we have come to expect that of the UGA, but I hope we never take it for granted. I hope those who play, I hope you, our listeners, never take it for granted. What the UGA does is not found in every state in the union, and you won't see this everywhere you go. But the UGA puts on a top quality product, puts out really good tournaments, and it's a good experience for everybody who plays. So we'll
Mm.
start with that baseline. The UGA put on a really good show. Then you go from there to what was happening with Bonneville, with the grounds crew, and Steve Allender and his team. What the support that was provided by the golf staff, led of course by Lindsay Myers, the head pro there. So the golf staff, Lindsay and her team, and then just the play.
Hmm.
The players were amazing, and we'll, like I say, we'll talk about that more later in the show. But history made by Darren Overson, and a loud statement of "I am here"
Hmm.
by Stuart Wallen. This was a senior state am to remember.
Absolutely. I mean, it was very exciting.
It was it
I
really
mean, it
was.
kind
Like I
of,
said,
yeah. I mean, when you look at hole by hole, I mean, it was pretty exciting, especially Darren's, number 13, 16, 17.
that we will go deep with him
Mm-hmm.
as we get through that. 13 was the turning point of the match,
Yes.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And then 16 and 17 when he closed it down. We will
Yeah.
talk in more detail with Darren about that later in the show. But you're so right, Jan. And it was really terrific, really good to watch. Now, Jan, we've
Yes.
got to talk for a minute about the Ryder Cup picks.
Okay.
Give me your reaction.
Um, I was a little surprised at maybe one or two or one of them, but I think that as a whole, and I think it's interesting that Keegan's not playing. And we talk about this all the time about being a
Yeah,
professional, putting on a tournament and then playing in the tournament. So I
yeah.
don't know if it's similar, but that to me, because he has a lot of personalities to herd and corral and and he's the guy that they're looking to, as their captain. So maybe it is better that he doesn't play and he focuses on that job.
Well, I think there's no maybe about it. And this was, of course, the big question, the big issue that got so much attention and conversation prior to the Ryder Cup. Would Bradley choose himself or not? Would he have been a worthy choice? Yes,
Yes.
100%. Absolutely. Keegan Bradley is a top flight player. He's got a great record. His career took a little bit of a downturn a couple of years ago, but it is back and he is playing Ryder Cup quality golf. No question. If he weren't the captain, he should have been a pick. However, he is the captain
Hmm.
and it is a massive job that is even, look, we can't comprehend it. I've never
No,
been captain of a Ryder Cup or a President's Cup. Have you?
I haven't been the captain of any team. So I
No.
mean,
Okay. Yeah. So
I've been the commissioner over some fantasy football teams, but
okay, well,
that's about
that's
it.
important work. That's I do understand that. But
This
the
is
reality is this
yeah.
is a massive job.
I mean, the pressure that he's under, the level of expectation that we have on him
Hmm.
is overwhelming, and it could be historical just because of the captains in the past and the history of the tournament. But he has quite a bit of and he seems to be managing the pressure well. You don't see him freaking out at all. He seems to be very calm and very um, precise in knowing what he's doing.
He does, and I've been very impressed with what he's done so far.
Hmm.
And I was quite outspoken that I thought he should not pick himself in the run up to this, as I would join Spencer Checketts on the drive once a week, and we would talk some golf. Those of you who, like me, are big Spencer Checketts fans, and you've been listening, you've heard me say repeatedly, he should not pick himself. But I recognized it as a possibility. And so when he made his announcement of his picks, and he didn't say, this is kind of cool. He didn't say, I'm not picking myself. What he said was, here's my captain's picks. And they went through a scripted presentation. Here's pick one, pick two, pick three, etc. And we didn't know he wasn't picking himself until he announced the sixth pick. It
Hmm.
was Sam Burns.
Hmm.
And when he announced the sixth pick and it
You
wasn't
knew.
himself, then we knew.
Hmm.
And when he said that, I was watching this and I just sat back with relief and just felt applause.
Hmm.
Yes,
Yes.
Keegan. Yes, that's the
Good
right thing.
call.
And
Yep.
self-sacrificing, I get it. He's a player. He's a
Hmm.
competitive golfer. He wants to play in the Ryder Cup. I get it. But made the right call.
I
And
think
I
so too.
really I admire him for that.
And he picked a wonderful team. I mean, he picked a team that can win. So I mean, so his job is just to make sure that that things run smoothly and that he's there for when he's needed. But this is a team that can handle themselves.
I think so. Now, the European team will be good.
Yes, they are good.
let's not
Oh,
let's not misunderstand this. It will be a steep climb. It'll be a big lift to win this Ryder Cup.
this is
But
going to be crazy
I
in the
know,
social media world and everything else. I mean, just because again, these competitors, I mean, they're used to competing against each other, but this is different because this is for like the United States. I mean,
yeah,
it means something different because it is a team. I mean, they're relying on each other to all to lift each other up and to do well. They have to do it as a team.
totally, totally. All right, so that was fun this week. Something else happened this week, Jan. Kind of quiet, a little bit under the
Yeah,
radar for the
I saw
significance
that.
of it. And that is that Weber State University announced that they announced their 2025 class for the Weber State Athletic Hall of Fame. And there's a familiar name on that list, familiar to us. Jan, who is it?
That'd be Kelsey Chug herself,
Kelsey Chug.
the one and only.
Being inducted into the Weber State University Hall of Fame. She, of course, is Wildcat alum and played there for 2 years after starting her college career at Redlands Community College in California. She came to Weber State, played under the legendary Jeff Smith, whom we still miss. But she was an all Big Sky player each of her 2 years there at Weber State, won 4 tournaments, and then, of course, in the years following her Weber State career, went on to
She
establish
eclipsed that.
herself.
She eclipsed
Yeah,
that Weber State stuff. It's like, what is this? This is
yeah.
insane. When you look at it, and it was really funny because I was looking at an article and I saw the biography for each of the members that were going in this class of Hall of Fame. And you look at Kelsey, it is like wow, 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 wow. I mean, and the other ones were kind of, they were great too. But I mean, what Kelsey has done, they should just be over the moon having
You know,
having her
I
in that class of
I
Hall of Fame.
completely agree with you. Now, in fairness, golf affords athletes an opportunity to do things after college that other sports just
True.
don't offer. I mean, either let's take Damian Lillard for
Mm-hmm.
example, who absolutely will be in the Weber State Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Um, After college, it's the NBA for him.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not Damian Lillard
What
and you
is it?
don't play in the NBA, what do you have after college? Well, you
Well,
got a job.
you did go to college to get a degree. I mean, I think people don't realize that a lot of, I mean, I would say probably 1% of a college professional team, 1% of them want to go pro.
Oh,
Or
well,
will,
they
I mean,
they
I'm
all
sorry.
want
I
to.
mean, sorry. That could have the potential or the
Yeah.
possibility to go pro. So
Oh,
it's
it's
you
less than
do go to
1%.
you do go to school for an education so
Yeah.
that you have you do have that afterwards. So
Yeah.
it's tough, but there isn't a lot of opportunity once you graduate from college from an athletics situation.
Exactly. And of course, we all know we will talk about it many, many more times
Mm-hmm.
with what Kelsey Chug, and I'm not going to say has done, what Kelsey Chug is in the process of doing
Mm-hmm.
in her post college career. Of course, 6 state AMs, 3 finals in the U.S. Women's Mid Am, a championship in the U.S. Women's Mid Am, all the other tournaments that she's won here in Utah. Um, it is a remarkable career that is mid career.
Mm-hmm.
She's what, 32,
Two,
the
30,
thir-
yeah.
33,
And I mean,
whatever.
you look at this
She's
too. I
young.
mean, she's a 7-time player of the year.
7-time player of the
I
year
mean,
for the
come
for the
on.
Utah Golf
Yeah,
Association.
come
Yeah,
on.
yeah, exactly. So Kelsey Chug going into the Weber State Hall of Fame. We will
That is
have more
incredible.
on that, but we wanted to acknowledge the announcement that was made this week. Um, we will be there, of course, at the induction ceremony to celebrate
Mm,
Kelsey, and cannot wait for that. That will
that
be
is so
really
cool.
cool stuff.
So great for her. And I wonder
Uh,
how many golfers have been put in the Weber Hall of Fame.
that is a good
And I
Right,
wonder
coming
question.
if
up.
she's probably the only woman.
Um, I don't know.
Maybe we'll
We'll,
do some
we'll
little research on the break.
yeah.
Now
Um,
I want to
we,
know.
now I want to know. but right now we need to do ourselves a little UPod update. The UPod update brought to us by our good friends at Scott Golf. Check them out, scottgolf.com. These are a Utah product and just the sweetest feeling clubs you'll ever hit. Jan, not a lot, but
Not a
tell us
lot
about
going on.
the
Let's
UPod.
go to the Corn Ferry Tour. Last week, Connor Howe was at the Manitoba Open. They changed this to a 36 hole because of weather, so he finished T16 -6, 136 on a round of 67 and 69. So well done, Connor. This week he's at the CRMC Championship. He currently sits T25 -8, 134 on a round of 66 and 68. Last week Mike was at the Ally Challenge and he finished T65 +2, 218 on rounds of 79, 68, and 71.
Yes, that's Mike Weir, of course, and we're talking about the Champions Tour, which is taking a couple of weeks off now. PGA Tour taking a couple of weeks off as well, but um, the America's Tour, where Connor Howe plays, is keeping going, and that's really it's really important to make the cut, and that's what Connor's doing. He's getting points, making the cut, making a check. Nice to see.
And playing a lot, which is really good.
Yeah, exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's about it for the UPod update.
We'll have more, but as we, I mean, it's almost like we're making the turn.
Yeah,
and now we have more golf to go, but like there's this 2 week stretch in late August, September that we don't have a lot to report.
Yeah, there are 3 weeks. Do I have that right?
Mm-hmm.
Until the Procore down at Silverado, Napa, California, when the fall season starts. And there was an announcement this week on the fall season, of course. Augusta National announced that they will not be awarding Masters invitations to winners of the fall series starting this year.
Ooh.
So those are kind of slightly diminished, but still they matter so much to the players in the FedEx who are on the FedEx Cup points list from 50 to 150, because this is the make or break season for players to secure their cards. And right in the midst of, say that again.
Did you say 150?
From 50 to 150.
Okay.
And right in the midst of that, at 95, is Patrick Fishburne. Yes. So, all right. We want to give some love. We've talked about this already. We'll talk about it some more. But Darren Overson is the Zions Bank Player of the Week, presented by Fairways Magazine. He wins the Senior State Am and joins Todd Barker, Hall of Famer Todd Barker, as the only players in Utah golf history to win the State Am, the Mid Am, and the Senior State Am in their careers. Darren Overson, the Zions Bank Player of the Week, presented by Fairways Magazine.
Trifecta.
All right, we got to take a break. When we come back on the other side, Jan, I've heard there's a little college football going on coming up here.
Yeah.
Would that be right?
Yeah, later. Okay. I think later today.
What that means is college golf is starting.
Yes.
So we will be talking with University of Utah head coach Garrett Clegg, and we're going to tee up the Utes for their fall season with Coach Clegg when we come back on the other side. You are listening to Utah Golf Radio, powered by T-Box on the Rocky Mountain Golf Network. Yeah. We're back getting you inside the ropes and all things golf in Utah
Greg is
in
online.
partnership with Utah's leading golf organizations, the Utah Golf Association, the Utah Section PGA, Fairways Media, the Utah Golf Foundation, the Utah Golf Course Superintendents Association, the Utah Junior Golf Association, and First Tee Utah. Paul and Jan in studio with you today. We're in the mothership bringing you the game here in Utah. And Jan, the game here in Utah this time of year means college golf is firing back up.
We are excited. It's nice to know that football goes with golf.
Well, yeah, look,
if people didn't know that, just so you know, that's what it works. That's how it goes.
I joke about it, saying that college football means college golf is happening, but there's a little bit of truth to it. Now, look, I like me some college football. I absolutely follow it. Go Utes, but it I do love me the college golf game,
Yes.
and one of the
you
things
are a golf nerd, so it goes to reason.
yeah, one of the things about college golf is that there is both a fall season and a spring season. Now, this can get a little hard to carry, to be candid. When I was a college golfer, it meant that every semester you're juggling your classes with everything else, and so that it's a difficult lift sometimes. But these guys know it going in, and they do the job. And really, I will tell you, the coaches really matter on that particular point. And with that, I want to introduce to us a guy we all know, have deep respect for. That's Coach Garrett Clegg of the University of Utah. Coach, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Paul and Jan. It's great to be on the show.
Good to have
We
you, Coach.
so appreciate you joining us today, because I know you're busy. Tell us about the retreat that you're on with the team right now to prepare for the fall season.
Well, every year we start our season with a team retreat, and most years we've come up into the Uintas. My family has a place up here, and so we stay at the cabin and hike around a little bit, hang out, just have a good time. It's good for everybody to come together, and even though we have a large number of returners, it still kind of breaks the ice for the incoming freshmen, and just gets everybody rowing in the same direction, if you will.
I like that. Okay, we're going to row in the same direction. That's really good. Let's talk about your team a bit, Coach. Let's start with your returners. You've got some horse beasts coming back.
Yeah, we've got we had a pretty solid year last year, and with that
group,
we've got 4 of the 5 returning, and so everybody's pretty familiar with Davis Johnson now. He'll be a 5th-year senior. Brandon Robinson will be a senior, a local young man. Both those two have played great and have been in everybody's they've been present all summer long because they're here in the States and they play. And then Gabriel Palacios, he's going to be a junior. He had a great summer. He just barely won, I think it's the Pan American Games, the Junior Pan American Games. It's 21 and under, and he won the gold medal, which last week on Sunday, and that's an incredible win for him. And then Sergio Jimenez has been in Europe. He's from Spain, and he's been a top 10 machine in everything he's played in this summer. And again, that both of those two have kind of been out of sight, out of mind a little bit, but they've both had great summers.
Yeah, that is so cool. And those players, yes, we do know them, and they're so good. And together with Braxton Watts, who just graduated, I want to remind folks, this is a team that last year, within a calendar year, every single member of the starting 5 won a tournament. It was incredible what you guys did last year.
Yeah, I don't want to predict that we'll repeat that because
no pressure.
That's something I don't know that I'll ever have again.
Oh, it's so hard.
I'd never had it before that, and so yeah, That was pretty cool.
So tell us about the freshmen you have coming in.
So we have a smaller team than usual. We only have 8 players. So those
Mhm.
4 we've talked about, and we have 2 freshmen that have come in from Spain, Jan Fade and Ivan Anguita. Both of those guys are kind of just getting their feet underneath them. This summer, people who follow us on social media might have seen some good tournaments by Cade McDonough. He's
Yeah.
technically a freshman. He was a redshirt freshman. He didn't play last year, but he was on the team last year, and he's had a very strong summer. And so, he played in the U.S. Amateur, qualified for the U.S. Amateur, and had a solid showing there. And then Adam Croy he's actually a sophomore. He's a transfer from South Mountain Community College. So those are the names that if you look at our roster, you really wouldn't know who they are.
Mm-hmm. Okay. When you look at this team, is there somebody you think he's our number one? And have you named a captain?
So our team captain this year will be Brandon Robinson.
Nice.
When you look at who's the number one, I think if I were to say one person is our number one, I'd have 3 pretty strong objectors.
Well, that's what I was thinking, and so that's why I wanted to know what was going on.
Do you want to write it
You
down
know,
and
off
slide
of
it to
the
us?
World Amateur rankings, a system I do not control. The number one ranked player in the program is Gabriel Palacios,
Uh-huh.
and then the number 2 ranked player would be Sergio. The number 3, I believe, is Brandon Robinson, and the number 4, I believe, is Davis Johnson. But again,
Yeah.
they would all say, "We'll play for that moniker if we could," as opposed to put it in the
as
rankings.
as well they should. And I think that's great. Let's talk for a minute, Coach, about your fall schedule, in particular this new tournament that you are kicking off this fall here in just a couple weeks up at Wahali.
Yeah, we are extremely excited to be hosting here in Wahali. Some people have seen the course, many have not. It is in Colville. You'd have no idea that it was there. There's only one exit in Colville. It's the west side of the freeway. That road dead ends straight into Wahali. It'll be September 15th and 16th, and we'd love to have people come out. We still need volunteers for the tournament, so our live scoring volunteer sheet is not full. So anybody listening, if you want to volunteer, on our social media, on our story, there's a link that you can sign up for. There's 14 teams playing, and they are some of the very best in college golf. Aside from the Utes, we will have Arizona State will be there, UCLA will be there, San Diego State, BYU, University of San Diego, UNLV, New Mexico, Oregon State, Kansas State. I don't have the list in front of me, but those are among the programs that'll be here in Park City area on September 15th and 16th. Some of the best college golf teams in the country.
That is really impressive. Let's talk for a minute about the field at Wahali. You guys go into the season with a preseason ranking of 25 in the nation. And just to put some context on this, generally a top 50 ranking by the time we get to the end of the season will move a team on into the regional competition. So being in the top 25 really matters. It's saying this team's going to play in the postseason, which we totally expect. But in addition to you guys at 25, you mentioned BYU at number 12, Arizona State at number 8. Is there anybody else in the top 30 here that I'm missing that's going to be at Wahali?
UCLA and San Diego State should both be in there as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Those 2 programs will be, I believe, are preseason top 25 programs. If they're not, they're right around it. And then University of San Diego, they were a team that made it to the national championship this last season, and they were a young group. And so if they're not in the top 25, that's maybe an oversight by whoever made these rankings. And then UNLV, I think I saw them post on their social media that they were 28 in one poll, 29 in another. This is it's kind of interesting. This is sort of a new thing, the preseason rankings. I don't really like it that much, but that's my own little deal. So, anyway, we'll earn our ranking however we earn it based on how we finish in tournaments. And so, I'm glad that we have the respect from some to be considered a top 25 program. I believe we're definitely a top 25 program, but we'll see how good we get the golf ball in the hole throughout the year.
Well, it certainly says that people look at you and they see the potential for a really great year and are expecting it. And I get your reticence about the preseason rankings. I share a good part of that, but it is kind of fun and it's cool to say, hey, nationally, Utah's getting some cred here, and I believe really well earned. So you open the season with your own tournament at Wahale, then head up to your old stomping grounds at Washington, to the Tyndall at Sahamish. Tell us about the rest of the season after Wahale in the fall.
Yeah, after Wahale, we will. So the Tyndall's another great tournament. Last season we got off to a great start and we won the Tyndall, and then this season, we're excited to go back there. And then after that, we're going to take a long break because the World Amateur is happening, and Sergio and Gabe will be at the World Amateur for their respective countries, which is a great honor for them.
Nice.
And then they'll come back from that, and then we go to the Williams Cup, which is University of North Carolina's tournament. That's one of the premier fall events in college golf. And then we go to the Golf Club of Georgia, Georgia Tech's tournament. And again, that's another one of the very premier tournaments in college golf. So those two events, we'll see teams we don't traditionally see, with a lot of frequency, right? Since we'll be down in the South, and those will be tough events for us on different grass, on different types of golf courses. Those are tournaments that have a lot of consistent, like they have a lot of teams that consistently return year in and year out, and this will be our first year, so there'll be a challenge for us.
Is this your first trip to the Williams Cup and to the Georgia Tech tournament?
So I was with another program that went to Georgia Tech. So
Okay.
I've been to that tournament once, but that was 12, 13 years ago. And then this is my first to the Williams Cup. It's a newer event. I think it's only been around for 4 years, or I think right out of COVID, the first year out of COVID, 21 was their first year hosting. And the Golf Club of Georgia, Georgia Tech's event, that's been around for probably 20, 25 years. And I've been there, but it's been a long time. I don't remember the holes very well.
Well, we've heard of Golf Club of Georgia, of course. They're in Alpharetta in the greater Atlanta area, a great golf course. But where will you be playing in Chapel Hill at North Carolina?
So the Williams Cup is actually out it's out on the coast. I'm trying to think. I think Eagle Point Golf Course is the name of it, and it's out in I think Wilmington, North Carolina is where we fly into, and then head to the coast.
Okay, interesting. All right, well, that should be really great. This is a good fall season. It will test you, Coach.
Yeah, it really will. We've pushed. We had a great year, and I push to always improve our schedule. I want our schedule to be one of the very best in the country. It helps us in recruiting. It helps us in player retention. And so we pushed this year to really test ourselves. And there's, if you go into the spring too, there's a number of additional tournaments that we're in that we were not in last year. And each one is a significant upgrade to the schedule.
Nice. Well, we're sure going to be watching and cheering. I'm looking forward to being there at Wahali and seeing the boys do their thing. Go knock them dead, and please give our best to the team at the retreat there. We are cheering for you.
All right, really appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for cheering for us.
Thanks, Coach.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Jan,
Yes.
Utes are going to be good this
I
year.
know,
No,
it's very exciting.
no surprise, but
Do
good.
you know the highest ranking they've come into the season with?
Well, it as Coach said, this preseason stuff is new, and I don't remember them being in the top 25 last year
But
or in
coming up,
previous years. They've only been done, they've just done it a couple of
Mm.
times.
Okay.
But the fact is, they're doing it now, and
This is great.
this top 25 ranking that they have right now is a recognition of what they did last year. They lost Braxton Watts, but 4 of the 5 from last year are returning, and it just says, hey, we recognize that this is a quality program.
Right, and Gabe
Um,
and Sturgio are both in the individual rankings.
yeah, absolutely.
That's
And
great.
they're making noise,
Mhm.
and it's really cool.
Yeah.
All right. We have got to take a break. When we come back on the other side, we're gonna talk a little things and stuff with our friends at Uinta. You are listening to Utah Golf Radio, powered by T-Box on the Rocky Mountain Golf Network. Yeah, things and stuff. Bringing you back here on Utah Golf Radio, getting you inside the ropes on all things golf in Utah. In partnership with Utah's leading golf organizations, the Utah Golf Association, the Utah Section PGA, Fairways Media, the Utah Golf Foundation, the Utah Golf Course Superintendents Association, the Utah Junior Golf Association, and First Tee Utah. This first hour of the show is presented by Salt Lake City Golf at slcgolf.com or the Salt Lake City Golf app. And we are powered, as always, by T-Box. Check them out at tbx.golf for a T-Box near you. And now, things and stuff. You can get your things and stuff most anytime, but the Labor Day sale is happening now. Labor Day sale at Uinta. And we have now with us Mike Alford to talk to us about what's going on at Uinta Golf. Mike Alleman, I mean to say, Mike, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Paul and Jan. How are you?
Doing well.
So good. Mike, Labor Day sale time. Tee us up, baby.
All right. Well, big thing is we have a 50% bonus trade-in on. So if you're buying anything 2025 inline current clubs and you have trade-ins towards that, you're going to get 50% extra on your trade-in. So if you have something that's worth, let's just say $100, and you're buying a new current club, you're going to get an extra 50 on top of that. That's just an example. Trade-ins vary, of course, but so that's a good one to kind of wrap up the golf season for sure.
That is so cool. Do you get a lot of trade action with people coming in scoring new sets and all?
We do. Even the last few weeks, we're kind of winding down into the golf season, but we still get plenty of trade-ins, which leads into another part of the sale is we have 15% off on used clubs. So all those clubs that people are trading in and we turn around and resell, we're knocking an extra 15% off of our price on those.
That's cool. Mike, I've got some skills, but I am nothing on this stuff. Jan is the sale monster.
I am.
Jan,
you had me at an additional 25% off sale apparel.
Yes, we do have. It's all green tag clearance apparel. We do have 20% off of that going on as well. That goes for men's and ladies apparel.
That is nuts because everything is on sale and then you put another sale on it. I'm telling you, ladies, this is the time to go to Uinta. You get everything on sale and it has a green sticker and it's like you won the lottery.
Jan, I expect to see you in the store this afternoon.
You will. Don't tell people.
I'm
not allowed. I am absolutely not allowed to buy another piece of golf clothing, but that anyone knows about.
But Jan, this is one of the many things you're good at.
I know I'm so good at this. So if anyone needs a personal shopper, I am available this afternoon to help you personally shop at Uinta. I am a deal finder.
And in addition to the clearance apparel, we do have 20% off
shoes.
Clearance shoes, yep. And then even current inline 20% off on Skechers, Puma, and FootJoy footwear as well.
Wow. And you also have 20% off selected golf bags. So there you go.
Yeah, clearance golf bags. And then this is a big one, 20% off all Ping, Sun Mountain, and Bag Boy and Day Trek golf bags. So Ping and Sun Mountain.
Did you say Ping?
20% off.
Because every time we get a coupon or every time we get something from Uinta Golf, it always says except Ping and Scotty Cameron. So now you have Ping on sale. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
That's that. I like to walk, and the Ping makes the best carry bags.
I agree.
Ping's carry bags are really good. So, are those included in the deal for the walkers out there?
All Ping bags.
Wow.
Ping anything on sale is kind of extraordinary. Let's be honest. I mean, when you have that exclusion in all of your things, excluding Ping. But yeah, they don't put things on. They don't give you that sale option very often.
Very true.
Is this at all 5 of your stores up and down the state?
Yes.
Yes, sir. It goes to all you Into Golf, all Worldwide Golf Shops locations. And we have a couple just outside the state too. Las Vegas Golf Superstore being one of them for sure.
Oh, okay. Nice. Well, holy cow. All right. This sounds like the place to be. And folks, you need to tie into Jan's high skill set on this if you if
You
you're
do.
looking for
It's
some
not
help.
hard. First, first it's visual. Well, I go to immediately to the sale rack. I don't even look at all the other stuff first. I look at the sale rack first because I know that I'm going to find I'm going to find a find in there. I know I am. I find one every single time. There's always something that gets mixed in there that's perfect. And then now you're offering me an additional 25% off. I mean, try and hold me back. Try and stop
and
me. I dare you.
and not all golf shops have a good selection of women's stuff. I know this is a item of
Mm-hmm.
intellectual recognition. But
It is
Jan,
it is
talk
a
about these
challenge.
guys.
It is a challenge, and I'll tell you what. Uinta Golf has literally cornered the market on women's wear because they have an entire corner section, and it's all women, and it's not um, just a couple pieces here and there. There's so many multiple brands. I mean, they have the Nikes, the Pumas. They carry 4All, which is a local Utah product, and
Right.
so
And I totally forgot too that 4All is 25% off, and
Oh,
huge.
that's on the whole brand. It doesn't have to be clearance on
Okay.
that.
Oh, okay. That's even better. Yeah, so I mean, the clothing options, I mean, it is the shoes and clothes. And we've come a long way when it comes to women's golf apparel. And Uinta has definitely kept up with the trends and kept up with the great brands. And the fact that they carry so much, I mean, the selection, usually in a golf shop in years past, it would
Break
take
coming
me
up.
under 5 minutes to get through it. Now, I mean, it takes an hour to get through it. And you love every minute of it. You love you love, I mean, I don't like to shop, but I do love shopping at Uinta Golf. I like shopping for golf stuff.
that is cool. All right, folks, check them out. They've got stores, 5 stores throughout the state in Riverdale, Sugar House, Sandy, Orem, and St. George. You can check out the website at worldwidegolfshops.com. Uinta Golf, it's the place to be this Labor Day.
I got three words
Labor
for
Day
you.
sale.
Ready? Sale, sale, sale.
Okay. Mike, thank you for joining us. Thanks for putting up with Jan. She's vibrating here.
I know, I love
I
sales.
love Jan.
We love sale.
And we love Jan. So that all works out.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay. All right. Mike Alvin, Uinta Golf. Thank you, man. Okay, Jan.
Yeah, I am a
we
little
got
vibrating on sale. Sorry.
Yeah, you are.
I
Take
get
a
a
breath.
little excited. Okay, I'm good.
We got to take a break. When we come back, as promised, newly minted senior state am champ Darren Overson. When we are back on the other side, you are listening to Utah Golf Radio, powered by T-Box on the Rocky Mountain Golf Network. It's 9 o'clock on a Saturday. That means Utah Golf Radio coming to you live today from the beautiful downtown studios of ESPN 700, getting you inside the ropes on all things golf in Utah in partnership with Utah's leading golf associations, the Utah Golf Association, the Utah Section PGA, Fairways Media, the Utah Golf Foundation, the Utah Junior Golf Association, and First Tee Utah. Paul and Jan with you today, and this second hour of the show is presented by Mountain Land Power Equipment. Check them out at mountainlandpowerequipment.com. You know you have end of summer projects you need some equipment for. Mountain Land Power Equipment is the place to go. We are powered, as always, by T-Box at tbx.golf, where they have cracked the code on the whole golfer experience with clubs, community, and coaching. T-Box, there's one near you, one in the Salt Lake Valley now. Check them out at T-Box. And Jan, it is such a pleasure now to welcome to the show one of the greats of the Utah game who just made really significant history. We are talking about the newly minted senior state am champ, Darren Overson. Dio, welcome to the show.
What's up, Paul? Jen, how you guys doing?
We're doing great. Darren, we have called your name ever since this show started. You had established yourself as one of the real horse beasts of Utah golf long before we were doing radio. You won the State Am in 1998 at Riverside, what was then your home course, and then a mid-am, and now a senior am. But we're used to saying your name, but now it really is something different and special because you have made significant history. How are you feeling about it all?
Yeah, it's kind of surreal for sure. To know that there's only been a couple golfers. I guess I would be the second golfer in Utah golf history to accomplish those things, to win the State Am, the Mid Am, and now the Senior Amateur. It's been kind of surreal for sure. So,
to give a little context to this, I mean, first of all, when we say only two have done it, well, that means, heck, there's a lot of great players who haven't. But let's talk for a minute about the man who did, and that's Todd Barker, one of the absolute Mount Rushmore figures in the Utah game.
right.
What does it mean to you to be the only one standing next to Todd Barker with this accomplishment?
Yeah, it's super cool. I think Todd did that in a fairly, if you're looking at amateur golf and the State Am, he won the State Am a little bit late in his career, for sure.
He did, yeah.
About the same time I did. I think it was maybe the year before, the year after. I can't recall. When he was a little bit older, and then he won the Mid Am about the same time, and soon after when he turned 50, the Senior Amateur. So I think his golf career, I mean, he's always a great golfer, and he worked hard in the golf industry, and so but he did that in a short amount of time, where maybe I've been around a little bit longer, I guess, playing competitive golf for a longer period of time. I don't know. But Todd's a great guy and did a great job and represents himself well in Utah, and so it's fun to, I guess, to be thrown in that category and try to be a good golfer in Utah for over a long period of time. So,
Darren.
Well, go ahead, Jen.
Oh, I was going to ask. You turned 50, so this is your first entrance into the Senior State Am. So my question is how? Sorry, hold on just a second. Sorry, how? I'm sorry. Go again. Go, Paul. Please finish.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to talk about there. I mean, you mentioned that Todd did his in a short period of time, and for people, just to remind people some of the history on that, Todd had established himself as a leading competitive player, as a leading golfer in the state over the years, but the State Am had always eluded him. and he won it when he was in his mid 40s. He was 43, I believe, maybe 44 when he won it, and that of its own is unusual. But I asked him about that once, and why, what changed, and he said it took him a long time to learn how to maintain the top flight mental uh, concentration it takes to win a tournament like the State Am for a week. That his history leading up to then was weekend play,
Mm.
and so making that change is what it took for him. But Darren, you had that from a much earlier age, because you won the State Am, as I mentioned, in 98,
Mm.
and then it was 2008, was it, that you won the Mid Am, and then this
2018. Yeah, I won the mid
18.
am
Okay, yeah,
2018. Yeah.
I knew there was an 8 in there. Okay, 2018 for the Mid Am. So you maintained it over all those years, and you figured out how to survive the endurance test of the State Am early on. Uh, Talk to us about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that tournament is, I mean, it's definitely to win the state am. It's a physical and mental test of fortitude for sure. And I think that's why maybe I enjoy it so much. It's just like, it's not always about, I mean, you got to play your best every single day and do your best. But mentally grind through those, maybe some moments where you're not, maybe hit a bad or a couple of bad shots or something like that, and it's just grueling. And towards the end of that week, you're definitely exhausted and tired. I remember losing to Jordan Rogers in the finals in 2000, I think it was 16,
Yeah.
and walking the gold course the last couple of days at Soldier Hollow. I was exhausted by the time the final match definitely played and finished. And I think I was in my early 40s then, so maybe 42, 43 when that happened. But yeah, it's and I don't know why I like it and why I feel like I can just hang in there mentally, and um, maybe it's just from practice or being a competitor and and just trying to compete and wanting to win. It's more of a will type thing than it is maybe some type of skill. But um, yeah, it's something I love. So
Yeah, walking the gold course 36 holes in a day, which you have to do twice, that ain't for the faint of heart. It's,
no, I think it was just over 18 miles, if I remember walking those
with a
2 days,
lot of
just
elevation
back to back
change.
to days. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So so
Yeah. And well, let's just note here for a minute. You made match play as a senior player just a couple months ago up at Logan in the
yeah.
State Am this year. Pretty impressive.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Um, yeah, that's yeah, just playing in state am is just it's a different animal, right? The first couple of days you're just, I mean, I don't go with the intent to be medalist the first couple of days. My intent is to definitely get into match play because you just don't know what happens after that.
No,
So
no.
you try to go play your best the first couple, but at the same time you're playing pretty conservative. Well, at least I am. I'm picking targets that I don't normally would pick if I'm playing in the state am, where you can be much more aggressive and go for pins that you normally wouldn't. Because I know that like the name of the game in the first 2 days is just to get to match play, and so that's and luckily enough, I played decent this year to get in, and then Lucas Schoen got the better of me there. So
Well, he's gotten the better of a lot of players. One of the things about this trifecta, about this historic accomplishment, is that it bridges formats. The State Am, the Senior State Am, of course, stroke play qualifier, match play brackets, endurance tests in that way. But the Mid Am is a stroke play event, and you won it. I think that says a lot about certainly you and Todd Barker, but a lot about somebody who can win both a stroke play event and a match play event. What are your thoughts on that?
yeah, I mean, it's definitely match play. Sometimes you can get away with things you can't get away with in stroke play. You can make a big number
Uh-huh.
and it only costs you one hole, right? But obviously in a stroke play event, every stroke counts a little bit differently. And um, yeah, that was a good week for me. I remember at Alpine. place that I've played fairly often, and I just played solid coming down the stretch the last 9 holes. I remember, so just nudging my buddy and 4-ball partner Dan Horner that year. So
Well,
we like
o-
that.
okay.
yeah,
Horner's only won the Mid-Am 3 times. So yeah,
I know.
if
That's
you
okay.
if you
Right?
can get past Horner, you've played some
Yeah.
golf.
I figured I had to win this state am pretty fast, because if not, he would be the next guy for sure. So
Well,
he turns 50 in
he's
I think 3 years from now. So
exactly. You're not the only one watching that, and
yeah,
and like you, one of the things that's impressive about you is you're still in such good shape. It's very clear that you have taken proper care of your body and you have it ready to play competitive golf. So does Dan Horner, and we know that when he becomes a senior player, it's going to be Katie bar the doors. He's going to make a splash.
It's funny.
no doubt.
What I was going to say earlier is not very many people get excited to turn 50, but you did. And I think a lot of Utah golfers, that was my point. It's like, people don't get excited to turn 50 except for maybe when you're
Yeah.
a golfer. And then that puts
Right.
it gives you another opportunity, a place to play.
That's right, 100%. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was not excited to turn 50 in most categories and most reasons, but it
You're a
definitely
baby. You're a young kid. Do you have a
Isn't it,
driver's license?
isn't it funny how 50 is a baby now?
Seriously. It definitely has opened a different avenue and a different place for me to play and compete with guys that are similar ages. It feels like the last 25 years playing amateur golf in Utah, it's like every year there's probably 10 more good young
Mm-hmm.
players that come that you got to try to contend with. The kids in college and the kids that are doing this all day long. Well, most of us, have some type of employment where we got to go to work a bit and try to pay the bills and
That
stuff like
that
that.
dang
And so,
job thing.
Isn't that
exactly,
annoying?
right?
No, I don't even
So
know.
to be in a different category with guys that are my same age and kind of going through the same things that I am.
But you're
I
considered
always,
young on the senior
yeah,
circuit.
this is true. Yeah, I turned 51 in about a
Let's
month.
talk
So
about this week.
Yes.
okay,
You go through, you did exactly what you just described. You did what you needed to do in the stroke play qualifier, go in as a 10 seed, and you start off with a match against Chris Gionke. I'm not sure I'm saying his name
yeah.
right. I don't know him. Um, let's walk through your matches here. Your first one, you win pretty handily, and you're able to save some energy. Talk to us about your first match.
Yeah, Chris was a great guy. We had a good time. We talked a lot about, and that's the other thing too, is the difference maybe a little bit in these matches and with the senior golfers is like, look, we all realize why we're out here. We're just out here to have fun and try to do our best, and so the guys have a different attitude really. It's not like I'm playing some 22-year-old that's getting ready to go on the PGA Tour, thinks that's where his career is going, and so things are very serious. And so I'm playing with other professionals, and he's a dentist, a good guy. We had a great conversation. He helped me a little bit, and I made some birdies, and that was kind of why the match kind of went the way it did. So, you can probably I can't remember what happened. So
Well,
all I just remember
yeah,
I went 5-4, and there were some
five
late
and
birdies
four,
in the
yeah.
middle. So
And then you got Mike Larson in the
yeah,
round of 16, and again a bit of a dominant victory, 7-5, and you needed to save some energy because in the quarters you got 3-time senior state am champ Brigham
yeah.
Gibbs, and he took you to 18. That was one of the highlight feature matches of the entire tournament. Talk to us about your match with Brigham Gibbs.
Yeah, Brigham is Brigham's a really good golfer, and
Yeah.
he grew up on that golf course. I knew, looking at the brackets after the stroke play portion, that that would be a match that would be difficult to win for sure. And the guy, he knows those greens, as well as anyone. Maybe the only other guy in the field that knows him as well as John Wright. They both grew up playing there and being near there, and so um, I knew that that was going to be a difficult match. Um, Brigham hit a couple of not great shots in the middle of the round, which was, I mean, he was up a couple, and I think I made 3 birdies in a row to
You
it
did
was like
10, 11, and 12, and
yeah.
birdieing 10 and 11. That's work. That's impressive. And that brought you, he had you 2 down, and then birdies on 10
Yeah.
and 11 brought the match back square. And then ultimately you pulled ahead on 13 and 14, but good match.
Yeah, it was a great match. Um, Hard fought for sure, and Brigham was did a great job and played well, and took all the energy I had at that point in time. So, um,
And your
great
for
match.
your efforts, you were rewarded with 2-time
Yeah,
Senior Player of the Year Shane McMillan, and
yes,
that was work as well. You had 2 matches in a row that went the distance to 18. McMillan took you to 18. You led the whole way, but it was tight.
yeah. I kind of got up early there, and if I remember right, I was up 2 or 3, and then lost a couple holes right around the turn. I
Hmm.
know for sure 10. Um, and then, I was at that point in time, I was starting to feel a little bit tired. I was losing my golf swing a little bit, and hit some wayward tee shots, and just was scrambling the last 3 or 4 holes for sure. So I had a couple of up and downs that um, I'm sure Shane was like, maybe he thought he had me at that point in time. On 14, I think it was, that was kind of like, or 15, sorry, it was on
15.
15, the par 3,
Yeah.
um, super short sighted. Um, and Shane had just hit a great chip to like 3 feet from where he was that I didn't. Then I chipped it to a foot and didn't have to putt it. And then the next hole on 16, also I got myself in a little spot of bother down the right side for sure, and had some tree trouble, and probably went after a pin out of the rough that I shouldn't have, and pulled it and went a little bit long left to that back right pin, and didn't have much room. And once again chipped it to about a foot. So short game kind of saved me there a bunch, and then just hard the last couple holes and held
Brett,
on to
coming
that
up.
1-up victory against Shane. So
That those 2 chip shots, I was there for that. 2 of the finest little greenside chip shots. In both cases, you were dead to rights, and in both cases, you pulled it off. It was one of the finest exhibitions of short game excellence that I've ever seen.
thank you.
Incredible, both those shots, and that might have been the championship for you, was those 2 shots right there.
I agree.
In the final, you get newcomer Stuart Wallen, and he
Yeah.
announced himself. He good player, and you took him 3-1, but made you work for it.
Yeah. Stu is such a good guy.
Yeah.
I've had a chance to play with Stu a little bit, just associated with friends at Alpine Country Club when he was a member there, so I know him from there. And then I think we played earlier this year together. Yeah, he's such a good guy, and he does just really getting back into competitive golf, and I felt like he did a great job this week in the State Am. He beat some really good players, senior players, and um, we had a good match. He had a couple chances early for sure, missing a couple putts that I thought for sure he was going to make. But those greens are tough, man. I mean,
Hmm.
if you're not there all the time and you haven't had some experience, some of those putts break different ways.
Yep.
Um, and your eyes don't always tell the story for sure when you're out there. But he did a great job, and he was a good guy. Before we even started, he was, we were talking about like, it's been a great week for both of us, and whatever happens, happens. But congratulating each other on having a good week, and so that's just kind of the tone for the match. And once again, that's the difference between, I think, between where I am now and my golf career and playing with the guys I'm playing with. It's just, we're just out there to have fun and to try to, obviously, we all want to win. There's no doubt about it. I mean, that's why we're still playing, is this competitive. We'd love to feel those competitive juices still flowing, but it's more about, I mean, doing what we're doing and having a good time. So
Yeah. Well, it was so impressive what you did this week. So impressive, of course, with what Stuart did. But in the end, your name was on the trophy. You are the guy who added to what you've already done, your body of work so far, and made history in adding the senior state am to the mid am and the state am. It is deeply impressive stuff, and we've got nothing but applause and congratulations for you. Really, really well done.
thanks, Paul. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. All
Really
right.
do.
Thank you so much for joining us, Darren. We appreciate you walking through this and sharing your thoughts with us.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for
All
all you
right.
guys do for Utah golf. You're awesome.
Thanks, Darren.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay.
That is the great Darren Overson.
Yes.
New senior state am, and joining Todd Barker, Hall of Famer Todd Barker, now the second player, he and Todd, to win the state am, the mid am, and the senior state am all in their career. Incredible, Jan.
I mean, now what is he? I mean, he can't retire. I mean, now what's
Oh,
next?
no,
What's
no.
next, Paul?
We're going to see.
Okay.
All right. We got to talk about somebody who needs some relief.
Yes.
I need some relief, brought to us by Duro Health. Check them out at durohealth.com. Swing faster, hit farther, play better. You will feel better with the innovative back therapy and training system at Duro Health. Check them out. And Jan, I've decided Max Homa needs some relief. He went from being number 7 in the world and a Ryder Cup qualifier to being completely off the radar here this Ryder Cup week, and number 116
Ooh.
in the official world golf rankings. A big fall for Max Homa. He needs some relief.
Yes.
Let's talk about somebody on a Sizz. On a Sizz, brought to us by Next Level Golf at nextlevelgolf.com. I'm going to go back to Captain Keegan Bradley. He did the right thing. Way to go, Keegan. You get to be on a Sizz.
I like it.
Me too. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back on the other side, we're going to have a little Everybody Loves the Soup with Steve Allender of Bonneville. You are listening to Utah Golf Radio, powered by T-Box on the Rocky Mountain Golf Network. Yeah. Utah Golf Radio. Getting you inside the ropes on all things golf in Utah in partnership with Utah's leading golf organizations, the Utah Golf Association, the Utah Section PGA, Fairways Media, the Utah Golf Foundation, the Utah Golf Course Superintendents Association, the Utah Junior Association, and First Tee Utah. Paul and Jan with you today. This second hour of the show is presented by Mountainland Power Equipment. Check them out at mountainlandpowerequipment.com for all of your power equipment needs here for your end of summer projects. We are powered by T-Box, tbx.golf, where they have cracked the code on the whole golfer experience. You've got to go to a T-Box. Jan, we are so glad now to welcome to the show Steve Allender, the superintendent at Bonneville. Steve, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, and thank you guys for having me on. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you so much. Steve, we want to talk about what I view as a pretty incredible accomplishment you made this last week. But before we do that, we need to welcome you properly with our brand new theme music for Everybody Loves the Superintendent. Here it is. Everybody Loves the Soup.
Welcome, Steve.
Welcome. I'm ready to go
Everybody
now.
Loves the Soup. Brought to us by Mountain Land Supply. We know the Mountain Land Supply. They're good friends of the show and good friends of superintendents everywhere, right, Steve?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Mountain Land Supply brings us Everybody Loves the Soup. And Steve, we sure love what you did. This last week, Bonneville took on so much water, but you had no choice. You had to keep the golf course going because you had a championship on the golf course scheduled for that week. The Senior State Am was happening. How in the world did you pull it off?
Well, I would say, first of all, we're really lucky that Bonneville is, on the mountainside of the Wasatch Front. And just naturally, we will drain very, very well anyways with our rocky soil. So standing water isn't a huge problem, at Bonneville. But, we get a lot of practice just because we're such a revenue-driven operation that we're in the situation a lot where when we get a lot of water, we still have to, get play out and get things moving. So I would say it's a well-practiced thing. And, part of it is in the plan leading up to the tournament when you've got kind of one eye on your irrigation plan leading into it, another eye on the 10-day forecast. And you kind of manage your program appropriately so that if that water's coming, it's got a place to go. And, like part of our pre-tournament program too is, wetting agents in the greens and, a deep tine aerification late in July that'll kind of help the water move through the soil profile. So, water's got a place to go when we get it.
It's interesting to hear you say that. Yes, we all know that Bonneville is on a slope. That's one of the main characteristics of this great and historic golf course. And it's something that Senior State Am champ Darren Overson just talked about, is that the putting is so hard because of the slopes. But still, there were plenty of places that water gathered. There were places that there was some standing water, and it was spongy. It was very clearly wet. The entire course around there. It's really interesting to me to hear you say that all of the preparation that goes into it, that you're thinking about this stuff so far in advance, just in case.
Oh yeah, no, you have to have a plan. Because my favorite thing, having a plan and being confident in my plan going into it just so that when things happen, there's no panic, there's no worry. We've been through this before, and we know what we're going to do ahead of time. We had a couple of quick changes we had to make as far as a pin location on number 3 that got filled with water, and another one that was half full. But for that championship day, also there were some pin locations on some parts of the greens that we definitely probably couldn't have gotten away with some other days, but with the rain, we were able to keep them there.
That's really interesting, and it was one of the things I was wondering about is if it negated certain parts of certain greens, and then the same question applies to certain tee locations as well. What kind of adjustments there did you have to make?
We didn't really make many adjustments with the tees, but definitely hole locations. Like we had to change one right before the first group got there because it was in a lower spot where the water gathered, but. No, like tees. We had that course ready to drink because we knew some water was coming. So we were on the lighter side already. So we have so many trees there. It just like I said, the water can go places.
That's an interesting way to say it. The course was ready to drink, and that makes sense. So once the play is happening, is there anything that you have to do when the course is so saturated like that to deal with the traffic that's on the course? Now, granted, this was a match play event, so as it advanced, the traffic was a little limited, but having people out there slogging around in a wet course, it seems to me could cause some damage here and there. What's going on there for you?
Oh, no, for sure. It definitely wasn't ideal conditions, and we probably would have held off play or at least held off golf carts in that situation because some of the ball marking on the greens can get so deep that they have to be fixed before they can get mowed some of the divots when people hit the ball a little thick you'll start to really bring up some turf and and just being like guys with experience being careful when they're mowing and knowing how to take turns and where they can drive and where they can't. Like we have a good group. Like I'm sure you're familiar, Jeff Green, the former superintendent, out at Stansbury, and then I have the former superintendent of Bonneville, Yampa Martinson, is on my crew as an hourly now.
Okay.
So I mean, when situations get tight, I have a good mix of young and young at heart to help, make the right decisions.
That's really cool. I didn't even think of carts. I will be candid.
You don't use a cart.
I don't think in terms of carts, but you make a really good point.
Mm-hmm.
With this event, you had carts on the course when normally I guess you wouldn't. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, no, we weren't going to deny Legends carts for sure.
Good
Okay,
for you. Good for
fair
you.
enough. And look, I'm on the cusp of that, so thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
Yeah, no problem. It wasn't going to be needed. Yeah, through the wheel or through that stick through the spoke for sure. So no, I just knew it. Yeah, and part of me just kind of knew I had to let it happen, and I was going to have to just close my eyes and whatever happens, happens, and we'll take care of it when it's over. It's decisions made, and we'll deal with what happens.
Now that you mention it, in the final match on hole number 8, Stuart Wallen hit his tee shot to the left. They were playing the front right green on number 8, and he hit his tee shot to the left of the green there, and ended up getting a drop out of a tire track that was. It looked to me to be left by turf equipment, and I'm looking at the whole situation there, and I'm thinking there is no possible way that could have been avoided. Now they'll probably come out and spend a minute or two and fix it here when the rain is really subsided. But how do you avoid even doing that kind of stuff when things are so wet?
It's hard. Like some of the younger kids don't know where to drive, and lessons are learned really quickly. But like I said, we rely so much on revenue. That was a regular Wednesday, Thursday for us. So we've been out there, it was our 101st day without rain, but throughout the spring and stuff, we get plenty of days where we've got to get it ready, even regardless of whether we're going to have play or not in the rain, just because, we need to bring in revenue. So like sometimes, yeah, the damage is just unavoidable, and we just have to fix it when it's all said and done, and just hopefully everything works out.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you do both pre-tournament and post-tournament, regardless of the rain? Let's say for a tournament that just would have been dry weather.
Oh well, so tournament for dry weather. We could talk about my program. I'll do a wetting agent, earlier in the week, so that I can try and hold some moisture near the top to avoid, because we dry them out quite exquisitely for the weekend. And so, I try to hold a little bit of moisture, but also keep them ready to be able to accept it and not be hydrophobic once the tournament is over. So that's one of my more important things. And then getting my growth regulation program timed out correctly with growing degree days to make sure that I'm well regulated while tournament's going on, and then we can come out of it when it's over. And then as far as, we always put on, we're a municipal program, so we're not grinding reels, every week or bi-weekly like some private places, but we will, we put on a fresh set of reels and we'll start double cutting and rolling greens 3-4 days out. Just, trying to firm them up and get the speed that we're kind of known for.
Uh-huh.
And then, depending upon I'll usually on Friday morning before the weekend or whatever, just kind of decide if I need one last little bit of food or nitrogen or something to get us through the weekend, or if I'm just going to put a little bit of dye on it and cover it up and make them look pretty for the weekend. And then just usually, like, my guys are pretty enthusiastic, so we'll pick out a mowing pattern that they want to show off for the weekend. And this just happened to be straight, and they kind of get enthusiastic about that. So we'll start burning in our mowing patterns in the fairways, tees, and rough. And then this year was a little, because we had club championship Saturday, Sunday, and then senior state am Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I ended up actually borrowing a staff member from Mountaindale and a staff member from Forestdale for each of the mornings, just to kind of help us get everything taken care of. Because for us, just getting everything mowed was going to be the challenge each day by the time the first play went off. So
wow.
it was probably one of the bigger operations I've had at Bonneville at times, but we're well, years and years of city AMs and city opens, and like now we're starting to take on more UGA events like the mid-am and qualifiers, and senior state AMs. We had the women's state AM a few years ago. There's talk of us possibly having the state AM in a few years. So we're pretty well practiced on the tournament routine.
That is so cool. Well, look, Steve, I want to tell you, I love Bonneville. I think it is so fun. I think it is so important in Utah golf. Bonneville is in the DNA of every Utah golfer, and what you do there matters. And I just want to say thank you for what you and your entire team does to make Bonneville what it is. And I also want to give a shout out to the practice green. The putting green at Bonneville is one of my favorites in the state. I love going there to practice. And I just seriously, thank you. Really,
and
really
Steve,
good job.
I'd like to thank you from the forward tees. The changes that you made to the forward tees have been exquisite. We love them. In years past, we've always been kind of on a tilt, and you've adjusted that, and now we kind of sit on a flat playing field. And so I love it. It's just made it even more enjoyable. So thank you, Steve.
Oh, you're welcome. There's going to be more of those to come. We're going to try and do 2 or 3 of those a year until
that's
18 holes
fantastic.
have their own.
All of us from
tee.
that play from the forward tees are so grateful. Thank you.
Jen,
I'm glad to hear.
Jen, I appreciate you mentioning that. I wasn't even aware, aware of a problem or aware that it's being fixed. So
yes,
so
multiple tee boxes, but they are
that is fantastic.
So fixed, and I play better. Thank you, Steve.
No problem. Like I started at Bonneville in September of 2009, and I've been there for a while, and now I finally kind of got my tournament at the helm. And like you said, it's an important place for the city and for everybody, and it matters a lot to me. And I'm excited at where we're headed.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Well, really good work all the time, but this week,
yes,
you pulled off something really impressive to me. So thank you so much.
No, thank you guys for the accolades, because like watching the process and having it come to fruition, and then seeing the rewards and the benefits and like the accolades for what we do is sometimes it can be a thankless thing. So I appreciate you guys drawing attention to us.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We don't want to be the ones that don't say thanks. And everybody, listen, I encourage you, when you see somebody on the course working out there, doing the work, when you're seeing a member of the grounds crew,
Mm-hmm.
walk over and say thanks.
Gotta go to
They
break.
love it.
Yeah,
Oh, for
please
sure.
do.
They love it.
I'll be adding Footloose to my work playlist.
Okay.
So.
Well, should we just give you the cut to the soup? We'll just give you that, and you can just
There you
play
go.
that one over and over.
Yeah, you got it.
All
I'll bring it in
all right.
a little boom box on my way in the morning, get myself going.
Love it.
There you go. All right. Thank you so much, Steve.
Okay, appreciate it.
You bet. That is Steve Allender, the superintendent at Bonneville. Jan, I really appreciate you noting the forward tees. That matters. I think more people should be playing forward tees, and I'm playing up one lately, and after spending my whole life on the tips, and so I'm on my way there. But I didn't know.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
well, we love Bonneville, and it is one of those things that I don't know that people talk about unless you play from the forward tees and you've had that experience.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it is exponentially different.
That is so good to know, and I appreciate you mentioning it.
Mhm.
All right, what's next, Jan?
Paul, you know what's next.
I do. It's the What's Next segment brought to us by the Utah Golf Association. Stick around on the other side. We're going to tell you what's coming up next in Utah Golf. You are listening to Utah Golf Radio, powered by T-Box on the Rocky Mountain Golf Network. Yeah. Utah Golf Radio putting a bow on the show in partnership with Utah's leading golf organizations, the Utah Golf Association, the Utah Section PGA, the Utah Fairways Media, the Utah Golf Course Superintendents Association, the Utah Junior Golf Association, the Utah Golf Foundation, and First Tee Utah. This second hour of the show is brought to us by Mountainland Power Equipment. Check them out at mountainlandpowerequipment.com. And of course, we are powered as always by T-Box at tbx.golf. And Jan, there's the bulk of championship season is concluded, but there's still a bunch more coming up.
Yeah.
I want to start with something kind of special. I want to call your attention to the Salt Lake Police Foundation's Blue Line Golf Classic, presented by RBM Building Services, will be held Friday, the 26th of September at Glendale to raise money for the Police Foundation in support of the Salt Lake City Police Department. Check this out at slcpolicefoundation.org. That's slcpolicefoundation.org. We've got some fun tournaments coming up, Jan. The Green Spring Am will be the 5th and 6th of September for down south. The Davis Park Am will be the 6th of September. We will be at the Davis Park Am bringing you the live show, the Utah Golf Radio show from Davis Park on the 6th of September. As we talked about with Coach Garrett Clegg earlier in the show, the Wohali Utes Classic will be at Wohali, oddly, on the 15th and 16th. And the Senior Women's State Am will be at Mountain Dell on the 17th through the 20th of September. So September, right around the corner, coming up with some good events. Jan, tell us what's happening with the Girls Go Golfing.
Excuse me, we do our meet and golf on the second Friday of every month. So September 12th, this next Friday, or Friday after next, we will be at Forestdale, the wonderful Forestdale. We'll meet at 5 o'clock. If you are interested in joining us, please go to the Facebook Girls Go Golfing page and go to the events section, and you will see all of the information and all the things you need to know about joining us.
I do love me some Forestdale.
I know.
It's such a beautiful little walk, and you guys are going to have a good time there.
We are. It's going to be beautiful fall golf.
We are just down the block from the Utah Bank of Utah Championship at Black Desert, and so that's coming up in a couple of weeks. So we'll be there for that, and of course, 30 for 30 memberships at T-Box if you want to check them out. Make sure you're doing that. All right, we got to roll on out of here. This is Paul Pugmire saying, don't jab it like Jan.
Jan Brownstein reminding you to chug it, don't pug it.
Always good advice. Please replace your divots, fix your ball marks, and for Andy Curtis,
15 seconds.
Don't spit sunflower seeds on the green.
Stop it.
You are listening to Utah Golf Radio, powered by T-Box on the Rocky Mountain Golf Network.
Absolutely, Paul. Nice job this morning, sir.